Joining me now is Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus, a former IDF spokesperson and senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And listen, I've seen you sort of describe this deal that we're talking about today as, kind of a stepping stone, a bit of a milestone, even bittersweet. Why exactly do you look at it in that frame?
Well, I think, I'm very happy and excited for the families who will, after almost 470 days, maybe get to embrace their loved ones. And hopefully they will be alive, those hostages that will be released, even though Hamas is, of course, playing psychological warfare against families, even regarding that. I am sad because so many Israeli hostages, male Israeli hostages, are not on the list to be released. And I'm sad because Hamas will still be in power. And what that means is that this is not an end of the war. It's not an end of the conflict, that there won't be real alleviation of the suffering in Gaza, and it won't be end of terrorism and fighting and threats towards Israel. I, for one, would like to see a change in the situation. I would want for there to be, a real vision towards peace. That isn't what this deal is about. And as long as Hamas are in power, then at best, we are kicking the can down the road. And unfortunately, this doesn't mean that the fighting is over. And that is why I'm not, overexcited and happy about this deal being signed.
Right, the fear of broader peace in the region when you have a terrorist organization in charge of Gaza. I'm curious as to your perspective here on essentially the two-pronged pressure that Benjamin Netanyahu was under from both the Biden administration as well as President-elect Trump and his administration to get a deal done and to get it done relatively quickly.
Yeah, I think last Saturday was a pivotal moment. The visit to Israel of Envoy Witkoff, I think, had significant weight. And I think that somehow caused action in the region, in Israel. And I think that what we will have to learn and look for in the coming days will be what did incoming President Trump and his team telegraph or signal to two important countries, two state sponsors of Hamas, Qatar and Egypt, that made them impress upon Hamas that they had to make the deal, because this deal has been on the table since late May, and it was proposed by President Biden, and it hasn't changed in real substance. Some nuances, yes, but bottom line, it's remained rather the same. The question is, what has changed, and what has the Trump team told the different countries involved that made them actually bring this about? I'm happy that it's happening, and it will be very interesting to see, because at the end of the day, I think American diplomacy has been super important here, of both administrations. And I, as an Israeli, am eager to see what the next stage will be, because incoming President Trump is saying very clearly, Hamas is not going to be a part of the future of Gaza, and we're not going to have terrorists dictating events in the Middle East. And President Trump wants to reach towards the broadening of the Abraham Accords and normalization with Saudi Arabia and other countries, which is great. And I hope to see that happen. So we'll see what kind of positive leverage they will have. And bottom line here, it is a bittersweet moment. We will see Palestinian terrorists and murderers being released from Israeli prisons, which will not be good. The leader of Hamas, who was the architect and mastermind of the October 7 attack, Yahya Sinwar, who no longer is alive, of course, he was released in the last big prisoner release by Israel in order to get one Israeli soldier back, and that was Corporal Gilad Shalit more than almost 20 years ago. So Israelis have mixed emotions about this, I would say.
Right. I read that he spent his time in that Israeli prison learning about the culture, learning about the people, and essentially making his plan there. Jonathan Conricus, I so appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on with us today.
Thank you.